Hi guys, welcome to the workshop. So today what we're going to be making is a kite, and here I have a model of the kite that we have. Right here you see how it's kind of like a sled shape. Oh, here goes the string. We've got two pieces of connecting string that meet up in the middle, and then it rolls all the way out. We have some tail supports. This is going to help the wind catch onto the, for the kite to catch onto the wind so that it keeps on floating. But yeah, it's pretty simple. We're gonna have some straws and some tape. It's not gonna take that long, so let's get into it. You guys are gonna have within your kit, you're gonna have this template hopefully, and if not, this is I believe an 11 by 17 inches piece of paper, and if you get something similar, you'll be able to make the same shape. Here we see that the template, I'm gonna show it to you guys a little closer. Here we see that it has outlines for straws. That's where our straws are gonna go, as well as we have little X's on the corners, on the edges of these kites. That's where we're gonna put the ends of the string. So to start off, I would begin by cutting out the outline of our kite, which we can see right here is just this general shape. So I'm gonna cut it. Here we have it all cut out. So now I'm gonna grab some straws and we're gonna put them right where the outlines say that they're gonna be. And we're gonna use two pieces of tape to tape down the straws. So here we see the two straws taped on to the template. And the thing is, these straws aren't exactly the same length as the template, but what I did is that I tried to just put it as best in the middle of the outline. Just put it in the middle and it should be fine. So now that we have that, we need to cut our string. So here I have the roll of string that I'll be using. If you need to get any other kind of string, I recommend thread for clothing, or string that is just very thin, because if not, it might rip while it's flying. So here I have our thread, and I'm gonna measure out 35 inches. 35 inches is gonna be how long the bits that connect on the ends of the kite are. So I'll show you right now, if I just can cut it out. So I'm gonna grab my ruler and I'm gonna count about 3 of these, because 3 rulers is 36 inches and we need 35 inches. So here we see 1, that's the foot. We're gonna count some more. Boom, that's 2 feet. And like we said, we're just gonna need a little less than another foot. We're gonna need up to 11 inches to make 35. So boom, right here where I'm holding it is where I'm gonna cut off so that we have this much string. With our string cut, we see how long it is. This is 35 inches, right? We're gonna use these and we're gonna tape the ends of these string where the little X's are on our template. If you see right here and right here. And we're just gonna tape them on nice and strong with just about a piece or 2 of tape, as long as it's nice and sturdy. Secure. So now that they're taped on, we can see that the shape of the kite starts to show, right? This little like dome effect. This is what's gonna hold the kite onto the string while we fly it. We'll demonstrate that in a second. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna grab the same roll of string. We're not gonna unwind it or cut off a piece. We're gonna grab the end, and what you're gonna do with your kite is you're gonna turn it upside down again and see how I'm pulling from the middle. This point right here, this is where we're gonna tie on a piece of the string. And what I recommend doing is just doing simple knots, which is, 1 loop-de-loop, and then you tie it. I would do about 2 or 3 of these to make sure that it's nice and secure and won't rip, hopefully, while it's flying. Unless it's super windy, then it might rip. So now that I've tied it 3 times over itself, I'm gonna cut off this little excess piece. Try not to get it too close, but near the edge, so that you can cut it off like that. And now you have a nice proper knot. So if I can grab my string that fell on the floor, if I wrap it up, I should have an almost functioning kite, but there's one final step that we're gonna do before we get into decorating it. And that's to add the tails, the supporting tails. So we're gonna flip it back on its backside again. Actually, I take that back. We're gonna flip it on its front side where there's no template, and we're gonna cut out, hopefully, I would argue probably like your arm's length or a little more is how much you need to make the tails long. That's probably, let me see, with the ruler, that is about, with my ruler, this much is about, about 2 feet, 24 inches. That's about how many, that's how long our streamers are gonna be. This is paper mache, tissue paper. And yeah, we're just gonna cut out 2-foot strips, 4 of them that is. So here's where I'm gonna cut. And now I have 1. And instead of having to measure them over and over again, what I would do is I would just lay out the one that you've already cut out and measure them out like this. Side by side, they don't have to be perfectly measured, and make 4 of them. So now that I have all 4 of these streamers, I'm gonna put them on the ends of the kite. So remember, we're gonna do it, if we're looking at it from this side, we're gonna put it below, not on top. And you're gonna tape them on the back side, the side that's gonna be facing the sun when it's flying in the air. And you're gonna wanna put at least a piece of tape or 2 because we wanna make sure that they don't fly away, like that. So I'm gonna do it to the rest of them. And voila, you have a functioning kite. Right here, right now, we could go fly this right now, but it's almost Halloween, so I'm gonna make mine just a little bit Halloween themed. And I'm gonna grab a black marker, I have an expo marker right here, and I'm gonna draw a little ghost face on it, right? I'm gonna say, do a little furrow with the eyebrows to show that they're a little unhappy. Ooh, there we go, making the eyes, looking crazy. And maybe like that. Make their mouth big to show that they're unhappy because they're a ghost. And all of a sudden you have this coming at you when it's flying in the air. You see a little ghost coming after you, right? It's kind of like Pac-Man if you think about it with their little tails. These are a little long, but you get the idea. So we're gonna go fly it now. So before we go outside and fly it, let's talk about safety really fast. And we're gonna be using scissors for most of this project. And scissors are spiky and pointy, so we wanna be careful that they're not touching our eyes, right? As well, you'll be using tape, you'll be having the streamers, you'll have your template, and you'll have the string that you'll be using. And the thing is, you may be wondering, how do kites work, right? Because we're not pushing on it, right? So let's just imagine that it's flying in the air, right? And the string is very still. The way that the wind works is that the wind is actually coming in from an angle, right? If the kite is leaning on it like this, it's not horizontal or vertical. It's kind of leaning to the side, right? When it's flying. That happens because the wind is not coming at it directly like this. It's coming at it from an angle, which then ends up pushing it both horizontally to the side and up. And that's how we end up seeing that the kite flies up pretty stably. But yeah, that's why we need really good strong winds to keep our kites flying, because if not, there's nothing that is using a force on it to keep it up and flying. Obviously, I decorated mine to be a little more Halloween-y, but you could use blue streamers, you could use green streamers, you can make the tails extra long, you can make your own design, you could experiment with the placement of the string. Over here, you could maybe tape it on these ends and see what happens. Maybe it flies higher, maybe it flies a little lower, maybe it's the same, maybe it's a little unstable. That's the beauty of it. You're a scientist trying to figure that out. But here's a good way, a foolproof way of getting a kite to fly. So let's go fly it.